Talk of the town, man. We back. Another live in-person interview, man, with a good friend of mine, man. Jay Nacc, man. Dude's an awesome guy, man. Actually got his chance to turn the corner, and he's doing this recovery thing right now, real big in the recovery community. He's also into the skate and BMX thing, so he'll be telling you about an event coming up tomorrow, man. Jay Nacc, for the people that don't know who you are, man, introduce yourself.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jay Nacc. I'm over here, and we're living right now. I'm in Front Royal, Virginia. I'm coming out of Long Beach, California, man. Been out in Virginia probably about 15 years. You know, got family, kids, all that stuff out here, man. So, yeah, that's what's in. That's what it is.
I know, like I said, I told the people you're big into recovery. Give the people a little background, Brand, where you know, how you grew up, man, and what kind of took you down that road to using drugs in the first place.
Yeah, man, that's a tough question, man. I get that a lot, you know, at meetings and all that kind of stuff. You know, and really as a kid, man, you know, I guess until recently, I thought I had like a super normal life, right? Like, you know, mom and dad split up when I was little, and, you know, my dad was around every other couple weekends or whatever it was. And, you know, in my mind, my mom was we'll just say not nice, right? But at the same time, man, she was doing what she could. She was real strict, man. And that kind of pushed me away and really just had me doing whatever I wanted to do, right? And she tried real hard, man. My fam and the rest of my family, man, for the most part, they're square, man. They're good people, good, solid people, still to this day, man. And you know, mom's was kind of on her own for a while when I was real little, and then my stepdad come around, man, and that's a good man, rest in peace, man. He raised me, man, but he didn't really know what was going on. He was kind of a younger cat, a little bit younger than my mom. But man, I was always wild. You know, I was always wild, man. I thought moms was just had to stick up her ass or something, man. But I was wild. I wasn't a cool kid, you know. And you know, kind of the same story a lot of people have, man. Bullied as a kid. I was real little in stature, man. And you know, when I would be around my pops and his buddies, man, they were like big guys, like they were somebodies out there, you know. And thinking that like street shit was cool, that's kind of the avenue that I went. And because whenever I was out, like with cats that were in the street, I could do what I want, man, and they accepted it, you know. And really at the same time, like I didn't want to live by the rules. Just point blank, man. In school, at home, none of that, man. And you know, I can't blame anybody but for myself. And I held a lot of resentments against my mom's for a long time, man. And we've talked about it since. And you know, she's kind of realized she was a little harsh. But you know, we moved around Long Beach a lot, man. When I was a kid, you know, when you're real young and you move like 2-3 blocks away, you might as well be going to another universe. So it was constantly having to make new friends, you know, constantly changing schools and having to start the whole bullying process over and fighting and trying to get people to leave me alone, man. And you know, it's the 3 o'clock by the flagpole type shit, you know, same old kid shit. You know, unfortunately, things don't get handled that way anymore. You know, everybody's got guns and shit now. But, you know, at the age of probably about 14 or 15, you know, I started doing drugs really when I was probably about 13 years old. You know, nothing on a regular basis because it don't come around like that. But, you know, whenever it come around, I wasn't the cat to ever say no. I'm not going to say no. Let's do it, whatever it is, you know. And, you know, I tried, you know, as far as the drug use goes and how I qualify into this whole addiction thing, man. Like my first day of smoking pot was the first day of me doing meth. You know what I mean? Very first time. And, you know, I liked it. I didn't really even know what I was feeling, but I enjoyed it. And, you know, my usage didn't really get to like, it was kind of spotty. You know, it's not like that first day, then boom, I'm an addict and I'm going to do, you know.
Recreational, kind of just using for fun.
Man, for sure.
Yeah,
and then, you know, and then it's like, then I start finding out, okay, I realize like who's smoking pot around that I know, you know, or my dad's people.
So not to cut you off, quick question. Do you feel like marijuana is a gateway drug? Because I know some people find it harmless, and I'm an advocate for the people that, you know, use it medicinally and all that. But do you feel like it was a gateway to other things?
I'll tell you what, man, and it's funny you asked that, man, because I've been kind of ruminating on this issue probably for the last 6 or 8 months, you know, because I just got out of rehab a couple months ago. I had a slip and relapse and shit, but during that time, I started thinking about, you know, that saying, because I grew up in the DARE era, and it's like, you know, marijuana is a gateway drug and that type of shit. I wouldn't go as far to say as marijuana itself is a gateway drug. What the gateway is okay, now you know you're not supposed to, let's say for a youngster, knew I wasn't supposed to be smoking pot, right? Knew I wasn't supposed to be smoking weed. And I see it around, I see it on TV, some of my dad's people, some of my, my stepdad's people, I catch them, I didn't know what I was looking at. But once you finally do it and you say yes and you have that and you cross that line, that's the gate in my mind. That's the gate. It's doing something you know is against the law, or maybe you don't even realize it's
kind of picking up a bad habit, bad habit forming.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's something that you know is taboo. You shouldn't be doing it. You do it, and it works out, right?
Right.
So then you're like, well, then you keep doing it, and there's no problems come from it because you're gonna get away with it, or maybe you get caught with it, and it was my friends. I was holding it for my friends. Everybody's probably done that, right? And then the next time when somebody comes around and you have the opportunity to do, let's say cocaine or whatever it may be, the next level, you're more likely to say yes. You're more likely to get into it.
Sure,
So I don't think it's a marijuana itself is a gateway into drugs. I mean, I guess maybe it is, but it's definitely a gateway into making bad decisions and feeling that rush from getting away with some shit you're not supposed to be doing.
For sure. What would you say to somebody right now who's just active in their addiction and even open to the idea of recovery? What's some advice you would give them?
Right now, man, it's kind of simple. If you're getting high or you're drinking out of control, look at it like this: ain't shit gonna get better while you do it. You might be able to maintain and keep the lifestyle and what you have now, not likely, but it's not gonna get better. It's only gonna get worse. Right? If you want things to get better, you're gonna have to put down, man. You're gonna have to step away. And there's so many avenues out there for somebody to do it. Male or female, rehabs, all these other things, man. And you have to ask for help, right? We're all ashamed. When you become a full-blown fucking gutter junkie like I was, you become ashamed of who you are, what you are. You're afraid to ask for help, right? You don't want to ask. You don't want to come and say, not only do you not want to ask for help, and shit, I didn't want to ask for help because I was ashamed. Plus, I didn't want to stop getting fucking high. Right? Plain and simple, man.
Right.
I wanted to figure out a way, and I tried many, many ways. As you know, how can I do this and not fuck my life up, right? And I've tried all the ways there are to do that, and it has always worked out the same. It's always worked out the same.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling like, your life's out of control already, it's about to be out of control, reach out to somebody, man. Jump on Google, look up some internets, find a meeting, man. The NA shit, man, I used to think it was goofy and lame, and it's for squares and nerds, man. Nah, that shit's cool, bro.
I actually had a dope meeting. I actually went to a meeting with them, man. They had a bonfire going on, man. They got food. It's not nowhere near as bad as people might think it was, because I was one of those people too as well, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't even think about recovery till I got locked up. So that's how I seen it, you know what I'm saying? I never seen people actually enjoying their time while still being sober, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's a problem for a lot of us. We've been getting high so long, we don't really know what activities we enjoy without doing the shit, you know what I mean?
Sure. And it's scary, man. It's scary. What am I gonna do? Who am I gonna hang out with? All these other things, man, but you gotta dive in. And it's, I give and show a lot of respect to anybody that has ever come out of addiction without getting locked up or without being forced to. I've never, until very recently, I had never quit or stopped doing drugs without being in fucking handcuffs, dog. Period. You know what I mean?
Man.
Period.
Yeah. A lot of us, like I said, wait till we hit rock bottom or we have that super negative consequence. I noticed one thing you said is like you had a slight slip up. So like you actually didn't have to hit the full-fledged rock bottom, maybe. If you're out there and you're listening, you don't have to go all the way to rock bottom. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You can definitely check yourself way before, you get there. And I hope most people do, because I know you've lost people. I'm tired of losing people, you know what I mean?
Bro.
And it just sucks.
Bro.
And it sucks because, it's just like a catch-22. You feel bad and your heart's broke, but it's something that, they could have prevented with the right education. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because a lot of us don't have that education.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I know a lot has gone on since I know you just got out of a bad relationship, man. How did that really affect your recovery and kind of like how you approach it now? Because I know you got kids and all that, and I know that's kind of hard to put on somebody going through recovery as well, right? So how did you want to speak on that at all?
Yeah, I don't mind. And it's funny you say that because, going to these meetings and being in rehab, man, I've met so many people, guys my age, maybe a little older, a little younger, going through the same shit. And I thought my story was unique, right? Like, oh man, she did. And this was before I had kind of, at this point, okay, so the story is basically You know, I was married for about 13 years to the love of my life. First day I met her, I fell in love with her. I was like, yo, I gotta have her. I waited, I played my time till her old man fucked up. And, there was a fight I was involved in that he didn't help. And that was my cue. Because me and dude were cool, right? Me and dude were cool, but you let me get jumped on, bro. It's done. We're done, right?
Right.
So I'm like, bam, your girl's gonna be my girl. And it worked out great, man. And there was a lot involved. You know, marriage is a crazy thing, man. I thought that just being in love was all we needed. You know what I mean? And there was never any violence or abuse, none of that kind of shit. You know, after I got out of prison, her and I had fell apart while I was in prison, and we met while in between my 2 terms of prison. We had kind of fallen apart, and about 6 months out of being out, you know, she showed up at my work, and the moment I saw her, all this hate I had in my heart for her for everything she had done or that I thought she had done, and it's me putting her in that position. I should have never went back to prison, period.
Right.
But she I saw her again. We fell in love. We were married probably, I don't know, less than a year later. She got pregnant with my first son, man, and so anyways, we were married for about 13 years, got 2 kids, and during that time, man, just communication fell apart. I didn't know, we were both young. I didn't know shit about how to be married. I didn't realize you had to keep, and this is to anybody, any young couples out there, whoever, if you're out there married, treat your marriage as its own entity, man. If you don't pay attention to the marriage by itself, you know, like fuck what you got going on, her got going on, your personal issues, but take care of that marriage, man, because that's a big deal. Communication styles, all that stuff, man. And she tried to hit me to a lot of that stuff towards the end, man, but it was already kind of too late. We had a lot of animosity. So about 5 years ago, I don't know, it's probably been about 5 years, damn, man. We got separated, and she told me, hey, look, I want a separation, and in 30 days, I'm moving back home.
Was that something you saw coming, or was that just some kind of
not like
thing?
that? No,
Okay.
We had been going through a rough patch, man, and I wouldn't even call it a patch because it was like apparently a decline, and I was working so much, working out of town, not paying attention to her like I should. You know, the kids and I would come home on the weekends and say, hey, look, me and the kids are going down on the river. We're gonna go jump on the jet skis or whatever at my buddy's house. We're gonna go ride dirt bikes. Do you want to come? And me being me, like, I'm just thinking that shit's fun. She should want to come, you know?
Facts.
But, not everybody's me. Not everybody likes to be out running 100 miles an hour all the time, you know? So I would just take the kids and go. And, there was a lot of other stuff going on that really I don't need to put on the airwaves. But I don't know, that making me sound like an old man. But,
some things are private and some things are shared. You don't want to I'm a firm believer, and even though you're not with the person dealing with them, you don't always want to, put them down in the negative way.
For sure. I mean? And she's cool people, man, and we're getting along now. But anyway, so what happened was she took the kids and went back to Colorado, which is where we met. That's where I did all my prison time, was out in Denver, man. Okay. And I was okay with it. I wasn't okay with it, but I knew like if I said no, you can't go, then one of us is gonna have to move into an apartment. There's gonna be a lot of arguing, blah blah blah. And at this time, probably about 6 or 7 months, maybe even a year prior. Look, throughout my marriage, I had been on and off. I shouldn't say on and off drugs, but I had been dabbling in drugs, like, you know what I mean, doing a little bit of coke here and there with my buddies and drinking beers, doing coke on the weekends. We'll stay at work on bikes and shit all weekend and go back to work, man. I had a good career, same career for like 10, 12 years. And I thought because I did all that, it was okay to be doing that. She didn't want me doing that. She knew it took me to prison last time. In her mind, and rightfully so, if I started doing drugs again, it's gonna lead me into fucking kicking in doors, doing robberies, just doing all the street shit that in my mind, I knew, okay, I have it under control, right? Well, whether I did or didn't matter. I was being deceitful. I was lying. I was living a double life, and these are things that I'm only recently come to like really admit to out loud and dive into and try to figure out what was going on. But anyway, she left, and 30 days, I spent 30 days trying like hell to get her to stay, and she had already made her mind up, man, and man, it's kind of difficult to talk about, man.
I understand.
She left with the kids, man, and the craziest feeling I've ever, still to this day, one of the craziest feelings I've ever felt is, we owned a house, and when I walked back into that house, man, and it was silent, bro. It was fucking silent, man. That door shut. They drove off, and the door shut, man, and it was dead quiet in there. Dead quiet, like deathly. When I say dead quiet, I mean like dead. Like the home was dead.
Especially
Like
13 years, man.
bro.
You used to having your family. You used to, you know, the chaos, the beautiful chaos of a family, bro. You know what I mean? And I know how much you care about your kids and how much that meant to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
You know, it is men's mental health awareness month, so a lot of men, you know, it's all right to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us, you know, we walk around having to be the backbone for a lot of different things and a lot of different people in our lives. So we don't always get to vent and get that type of stuff off our chest. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I know recovery kind of just the way you have to work the program allows you to kind of do some of that healing. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. That's a benefit of not only getting clean, but doing these programs and being around people in recovery is you start working on your mental health without even realizing it. Right. Because addiction and mental health are so fucking tied together, bro, that
you think most of us have both? Man. You think most of us addicts probably have both? It's kind of hard to have, right? It's kind of hard to not have one without the other, right?
And listen, if you didn't start out with a mental illness, it's gonna develop along the way.
PTSD at the least, right? I'm a firm believer in a lot of us, you know, especially going to the guys who've been in prison, having to have your guard up, having to be away from your family for so long. Just the way we interact with people, I don't know how you feel about it. It's not always normal. Like I feel like you always have that. In the back of your head, they're gonna stab you in your back and get over. You know, that's not how we're supposed to be. That's not natural. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's not trying to get over on you. So like, you know, I definitely like, you know, to hear that, you know, fellow men are taking that approach because I've actually had to, you know, look into my mental health myself just to see why I keep making the same mistakes. You know, why am I having these problems that the normal, whatever you want to call so normal people aren't having? You know what I mean? So
at the same time too, man. A lot of that normalcy that we think we see is just a facade.
Right.
It's a facade, man. And you know, myself, I tried to keep that facade up for a long time too. And I was one of those cats when I was younger, even as an adult during my marriage, I didn't, my ex-wife will tell you this, when people started talking about trauma, I swear to God, I was like, man, I don't have trauma. That shit that happened to me when I was a kid and everything don't affect me. I'm stronger than that. Trauma is for weak people. Fuck no,
No, it's not, man. We all got it. We all got it. And the more you hold it in, like, because I was one of those people as well, the more you hold it in and hold it in, it spews out of you in different type of ways, right? It could be diving into drugs, it could be diving in the street, it could be whooping, it could be anything. It could be a lot of different things. But, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I like to see people, you know, in this day and age, especially because we were kind of older, you know, mental health wasn't a thing back then. It was suck it up, right? You know, quit your whining, quit your crying, you know what I'm saying? You know, boys don't cry type shit, you know what I mean? And that's kind of like, I'm glad to see that change and to see people even willing to talk about it, you know what I mean? What's something you would tell yourself as a kid, knowing that all the rough road that you done been through, if you could give yourself one piece of good advice, what do you think it would be?
I mean, that's a crazy question, dude. Man. Learn to love yourself, bro. Learn to love yourself. And self-validation is a big deal. Like, you know, I didn't even know what that type of shit was until I was in my late 30s, man. I'm about to be 45 in a couple months. And, you know, a lot of that kind of stuff was foreign, still is foreign to me. And I'm just learning it. So, you know, younger me, I would probably definitely have to snatch myself up and smash myself up against the wall, man, because I needed that. That's the kind of love I needed back then, man. And yo, bro, drugs ain't cool. The homies don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? They're not gonna be there for you. You know, the streets ain't cool, bro. You know, that's just how it is, man. And you know, I have two teenage sons. One's about to be a freshman. One's about to be a senior. And man, I'm real lucky. You know, my wife and I, we did a real good job. I'm gonna shout this out, man. She's a good mom, and I was a good dad, man. Even through addiction and towards the tail end of it, and everything that's happened in the last 5 years, like nobody could ever say I was. No way.
Everything's been about trying to stay close to the kids, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And the main thing was like, if I can get my sons to learn from my mistakes, then I consider that successful. So you know, even at the behest of my ex-wife, I was always very straight with my sons about what I've been through, what life is really about, what's cool, what's not cool.
It's a different world, ain't it? Growing up in this world, you got to be. There's so many things you got to be. Speaking of that, the internet, all these type of things, you got to put, you know, that education in your kid's mind that there's going to be so many things coming at you, right, from different angles. Not like when we were growing up, it's just the kids in the neighborhood. Now it's coming from the internet. They got to see this. They see, you know, all the kids doing all this wild stuff all the time, and it's hard to make sure all the time that they're receiving what you're putting down. You know?
Absolutely. And you know, the kids grew up around, you know, our family and our crew in Colorado that, you know, when my oldest son was real little, you know, we had a good time, man. We'd have backyard parties and all that kind of stuff. And it was a lot of the guys that I did prison time with, man. And they're good dudes, man. And still to this day, it was good dude. They're good dudes. And, you know, I ain't talked to them in a long time, but, you know, we all had our kind of kids around at the same time. And as they got older, and even now, like when I tell war stories around my sons or to my sons, I always make sure they hear the whole full story.
Right.
It ends up
bad, and ugly, right?
Yeah, it ends up in jails, institutions, and death, man. And they need to know that. And there's guys that my son, especially my older son, that he grew up with, they were my partners, that are dead and gone, man. And I never hide that from him. Like, hey, man, you remember so and so? Man, he got killed on his motorcycle. Hey, you remember so and so? He got it. Whatever happened, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter how to put that out there, but you know, like a lot of tragic shit has happened, and I never really hid that from my sons, man. And you know, I think that's helped them.
No, life is not a movie. It's not a comic book series. It's not Grand Theft Auto. You don't get another life once you're not here anymore. You don't really get a second chance all the time.
Yeah.
It could end with you being in jail forever. It could end up with you losing your life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Easily. So like.